Hi everyone, it's time for Tag Tuesday. Just being a little bit late because I've been away for Easter and I've been house sitting a house with a little dog and a little cat. The cat was a kitten, so invariably annoying because it hadn't learned not to jump all over everything like the bench, etc. Anyway, enough of that. Tags, we're on to tags. So I was thinking a lot about what Anne was saying, and a treasure in a pocket. This time I've written it down so as I don't miss what it's about. A treasure and a pocket, and inspired by a place or a location. So I've been doing a mega massive cleanup at my house, so I don't have a lot of, currently, I've still got a few bowls of shells and things, but everyone seems to be doing shells, and I thought I'd have a look at what else was possible. And I found, when I was looking, my little Thai phrase book. It's old, it's falling apart, and it reminded me of my trip to Thailand. So I thought, I'm going to do this. So I made a little, one of my favourite fish, and I think, so I went to Thailand in maybe 1986, so that's a long time ago. And I've got quite a bit of a story to tell about this. So that was, I came from England when I was 2, so I was a child, so I was excited about travel because, you know, when you're a child you get excited about travel. And this was, I went with my second husband, who is not anyone that I see now, lovely, lovely man. I went to Thailand with him, his wife and her husband and 2 of her girlfriends, and it was my first experience as an adult of travelling overseas and exploring places that were exciting and interesting. So I thought I'd honour that by having the batik that I've got, which isn't necessarily made in Thailand, but it reminds me of the colours of the sea, because it was the first place I went snorkelling, and the sea. So this reminds me of the sea. So I've made this little thing. I'm going to write, it's a clown triggerfish it's called, so I'll write that on when it's dried. I've just put a bit of Mod Podge to protect it. But that's going to be my little hidden insert. So what I wanted to do was put these colours together. Just going to pin them somehow. I've even been thinking of sticking this on the back here, so it's a little fold out that's hidden under here. So I was thinking I was going to do a backwards pocket, but it's not really in the pocket though, so that defeats the purpose of that. But I might put these in the pocket. But I didn't want to lose this. I thought that was very sea-like. So maybe I'm messing myself up here. I don't know. That's what it'll be like. Maybe that's not how I really want it to be. It's more like a hidden door than a pocket. Let's see. What if they go there? Anyway, my trip to Thailand, let's talk about that. So it was very exciting. I don't think we'd been married for very long. Lovely Italian man from a lovely Italian family. And his sister was a teacher, so she always wanted to do adventurous things on the you know, when she had her Christmas holidays. So she'd have a in Australia it's a little bit different. We have our biggest holiday is over Christmas because that's our summer. So it's a bit different than overseas that doesn't have maybe as much of a holiday for Christmas because it's your winter. It's winter, so it's not that exciting and you don't want to go on a big holiday. Anyway, so we all trundled off, and the good thing about the trip, and I don't know if I've talked about this on YouTube before, but anyway, sorry if I'm doubling up. Yes, the good thing about it was that my husband's sister, her two friends that came along with us, or that we all went together, had been before, so they knew the ropes. They knew how to get around the whole language barrier because they were used to it. They'd done it all before. And so they had all the clues, which really helped us because if you haven't, when you haven't been there somewhere, sometimes it's good to have a bit of help to just help you with your travels. Because when we got off, I think from here, let's move those out the way. From here, I'm also going, right, okay, I am organised. I was organised, but now I'm thinking I'm not. I'm actually just going to put this out to lean on. It's a bit softer. Right. Back to the story. Tangled up. Right. Definitely recording? Yes. Okay. See, I've just got back from being away and I haven't had to think about too many things. So when we arrived, so this was 1986, so obviously it's probably a hell of a lot different now, and I don't know, but it may or may not be. When you arrive in a strange country and there's men in army gear holding guns, well, maybe now it's not so strange, but like back then it was scary. I thought it was scary to have all these armoured, people everywhere. And anyway, we went, got to the airport and got off, and the instructions from these two girls who'd already been was that you don't organise too many things. You just get off the plane, and at the airport there's boards with places of accommodation, and you just go and you look at what you want to pay, where you want to be, and you book it there at the airport. And then you organise your drive. So it's like an open-air Jeep type of thing. So we've had 9 hours or 10 hours or 11 hours even of being at the airport and getting on the plane and flying there. Then we've got this strange place with people, no one speaks English. So yeah, that's I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying it's disorientating as an English-speaking person, to arrive in a country that you don't know the language. So we go get on this little taxi Jeep thing, and that's still like another hour or something. I don't know. Can't remember. It was a very long ride to the hotel anyway, and we finally got there. Well, we decided we would spend, they'd planned it out, so we'd spend 4 days in Bangkok, and then we'd go to take the overnight train up to Chiang Mai, and then we'd do a 4-day, we'd stay there one night, see the night market and the umbrella making place, and we would stay there, and then we would do a 4-day trek up to, so where did we go? I guess it was around that area. It was just a 4-day trek. So I don't remember much about those first couple of days. We went on the boat around Bangkok and we had a look at the night market and the floating market and enjoyed probably drinking too much, as you do in your early 20s. Early 20s, mid-20s, somewhere around there. So that's what we did there. And then the overnight, so it was an overnight train we caught to Chiang Mai. And that was also scary and weird because it was, lights stayed on. So you took your little sleeping bag on the train and you just had to sit on the train basically. The lights stayed on and there was a guard in the train. And that's because there was always a risk of the opium smugglers or whatever doing something. Anyway, it was all very weird experiences and new and fresh. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. However, I didn't realise I loved it till the end. It was just all a bit too scary. right back at that point. I'm going to cut these off. So we enjoyed having a little day or two in Chiang Mai, checking out things. I did. They make these great big lacquered umbrellas, and we all bought one or two of those and sent them back. Don't have mine anymore, which is a shame. I guess, you know, that was, what was it, 1986-ish? Anyway, they lasted quite a long time, I'm pretty sure, but never really got to decorate with them the way I was picturing them being decorated. Anyway, we went on our trek. So one of the fascinating things that happened for me was that I'd put my passport right down in the side of one of my backpacks with some socks, and then when I couldn't find it anywhere, so that was a bit of a drama. Just not thinking. But we had to take, for our trek, which was 4 days, we had to take just one small backpack basically. So that was a new experience. I'd never really done a trek before, or even, not a great hiker or anything like that, so I hadn't even done that. We went and we had most days there was maybe a couple of hours of walking, most days, and every time we got to one place we'd have to do a particular thing. So the first night was at we stayed in a little village, and a family gave us their little hut, their rooms, and that was fascinating. And I'll tell you what, the spiders were pretty big in that hut, and that was not fascinating. And the sad thing about it is now, who I am today, you know, and having friends of all different cultures and having discussions about lots of different cultural things, was that the embarrassment when we were sort of screaming at the spiders, the embarrassment of the lady, the wife, because that we weren't, you know, all they cared about was that we were happy and it was hospitable for us, and then there we are making a big hoo-ha about the spiders. They, you know, stupid white Westerners being ignorant is all I can say about that now. Now I'm older and have a bit more world experience. It was interesting anyway. We the next day we did, so we did lots of walks anyway. I've said that already. Come on, Christina, get on track. Now, we went on elephant rides one day, so walked for a long way, went on elephant rides. And then another day we built our own rafts and we went for a raft ride, which was pretty good as well. It was fun. Scary, The whole point of me doing Thailand for this tag, aside from seeing the Thai phrase book and wanting to regurgitate my experiences, was that the learning that I had. So I'd never built a raft. I'd never ridden an elephant. So they were all a lot of firsts. And I'd never, not only had oh, hang on, I'm going to cough. Right, I'm back. Got some water. So there were a lot of firsts in terms of riding an elephant, building a raft, going down the rapids. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified back then because I'm not a strong swimmer, and I was just terrified of that these rapids would be really, and look, I've actually buckled, and thanks Felicia, I've got these little threaders which Felicia from Mouse Potato Designs suggested. When you're not a strong swimmer, the thought of it being like full-on rapids or something like that was terrifying. Anyway, it didn't end up being that bad. It ended up being quite an interesting experience because it was reasonably flat. Reasonably not rapidy. Not rapidy. Reasonably rapid free. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, I think the last day after that, and you know, every night you collapse in a heap because you're exhausted because you've walked for hours and hours, and yet at the same time it's very liberating. So there was one point, you know, it's funny to travel in a group when you don't know anyone. Like, you travel together as a group because you've gone together as a group, but there are sometimes people travelling on their own. And there was one guy travelling on his own, and I have to say that as a traveller, I don't think I was a terrible person, but I do think that in the group I was in, some of the instances were quite, I don't know, just, he was on his own but he didn't know anyone. Now I would not think that was, you know, I would make friends or talk to that person for being on their own. But the group I was in, not necessarily my husband, but there was a particular attitude of bullying towards that sort of a situation, like making that guy out to be weird for travelling on his own, rather than actually being kind and, you know, supporting him and thinking he deserved to have friends or to talk to people when he was travelling on his own. So there was a few things like that happened that by the end of the trek I was a little bit fed up with the group. You know, they say you can choose your friends but you can't choose your family. So honestly, wasn't really impressed about that. But they'd planned it all very well, because they planned the whole trek so that we went from busy, because everyone was on school holidays, so they went from busy in Bangkok to working hard on the trek, to then going over to Phi Phi Island and then finishing up at Koh Samui. Phi Phi Island, of course, this is before the tsunami, so, well, if anyone's been there, I don't know if it's the same anymore because this was a long time ago, but you'd go on the little, you'd go and you'd stay in Phuket, and then you'd catch the little boat over to the island with your little backpack, and basically you'd race off the boat and grab a hut, and it was $5 a night, and you had to do it before. So you got you got there, so you got the hut. You had to go early in the morning, so you didn't have trouble finding a hut. And so we all sort of separated when we did that. So we kind of, I guess Don and I felt like we were having a bit of a holiday alone for a change, and I was a bit over people by then, with treks and trains with guards and all of that. And when there's this moment when you're travelling of being in another country where you get a little jaded, but I'm not a big rice person, so I also got a bit sick of rice, I must say. All right. Now, this is going to be the back. I'm not saying anything about my stitching here. Oh well. Just reliving my little memory here of going to Thailand. All right, I think I'm just going to blanket stitch up this side as well. That's going to be my, you know what, let's have a look at this. Maybe this little secret pocket is actually going to go like that. Oh yeah, like that. Orange. Don't mind that. So I think I'm finally getting to the point of this story, which is that on Phi Island, you could go out snorkeling and hire a little boat, and they had a glass bottom boat. Oh my goodness, I've got a real tickly throat today. Glass bottom boats, and we went out and let's get that out of the way. Snorkeled. It was my first time snorkeling, and I just loved all the fish. And I discovered that perhaps triggerfish were my favourite fish of all during that time, that snorkel time. Oh, that's so annoying when that happens. Let's make it a feature. Let's do another one. I don't know why I did that, but who cares? Let's just do that. So triggerfish and pufferfish seem to be my favourite fish out in Sea World, in the life of the sea. I'm not doing any fancy stitches here today, just blanket stitch and straight stitch. So we went, I think we spent maybe 3 days on Phi Island. Or it's probably not Phi, it's probably Fifi or something. Can't remember, it's such a long time ago. My phrase book doesn't help because you've got to hear them speaking it or you don't understand. And it's been a long time. We got back to, after, I didn't like Koh Samui. I felt Phi was very nice and sedate and, you know, not, it was just not a popular touristy type of place because it was more long-term people. Well, it was, Phi was understated, just a little tiny shack on the beach. And you got to Koh Samui and there were all the people who kind of live there all the time and who, like long-term backpackers, and it just, the energy of it wasn't really that nice, to be honest. Better put a fancy stitch in here. Maybe I could put something else on. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so snorkeling. This reminds me of one of the corals. So they had those great big round white corals. So I'm putting this on to remind me of the coral. And you weren't allowed to stand on them, of course, but I get terrified, and I must admit I was a bit naughty. Not having anything under my feet is a bit scary. You know, if you're not a strong swimmer and you've had experiences when you're little of people pushing you under the water and stuff like that, that's a bit scary. Anyway, wonderful experience. Loved Phi Island. Just love that. We went and saw the bird's nest. You go on one of the boat rides and you go into one of the caves and you see where the James Bond movie was filmed, and you see the nests of the birds that they use to make bird's nest soup, and the green water, beautiful. Anyway, after that we went back to Bangkok for, you know, the last two or 3 days we had in Bangkok. What I found by then was that the attitude around me, it really informed who I became after that, because I came back to Australia and just felt so completely and utterly changed by the experience. I felt that being in with a group of people who were homophobic, a bit sexist even for women, but mostly homophobic, laughing at the ladyboys and laughing at anyone that was different or maybe appeared gay. Whether they were gay or not is another matter. Just, it really, really got to me, and I felt that they were very, not all of my party, of course Dom wasn't, but just, I didn't like it. It just really informed who I became after that. Very, I just do not do homophobia or racism very well, and if someone around me is like that, I would rather walk away and have nothing more to do with them. So I came back a completely changed person, and I wanted to grow and explore and become a much broader person, I guess, in the world after that experience. So even though he was a lovely man, I ended up, I was studying to be a musician, so I guess I went a bit wayward. I got back and left him and moved into the city, and I guess I found myself, really. I was just living this, perhaps, like a sleep in a sleeping daydream of what you're meant to be and who you're meant to be. But you haven't really actually thought about who you are. You're just playing a game to kind of fit in with everyone else's expectations. did have feelings for him, but I couldn't. I think also in that moment I realised that if that was who I was and that's not who any of them were, I didn't really fit there. It wasn't the right place for me to be, unfortunately, because he was a lovely man. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, that was what happened. Came back to Australia and was forever changed from that experience. Still absolutely love triggerfish. Just love them. And pufferfish. Don't know. Just look at them. I just love them. There's no explanation. Just did a bouillon, actually. I'm going to do two because that was such fun. So talking about this has also reminded me of Anthony Bourdain and how much I used to love his little travel shows and going to all different places and being fascinated by getting to know people and who they are and, you know, listening to the stories of their culture and cooking, what are they cooking, what's their favourite dish, all of that sort of stuff. I just realised there's a shadow and I didn't turn the light on. I'm going to turn, sorry about that, I've been probably doing this in the shadow the whole time. So I'm out of practice because I've been away. There, that's probably better. I just had such a nice time. Had a nice dinner with Lawrence and watched a bit of TV at one stage. Had Mum, so I'm segueing. I'm back into present time rather than talking about my past experience with Thailand, because that's what this tag is about, the memories that we have. And so in terms of a treasure, that triggerfish, when I see a picture of a triggerfish, it's a bit of a treasure to me. Got a hidden pocket, yes. Got that right. Inspired by Thailand. I had my mum, right, so what's been happening this last 4 days over Easter, minding this beautiful over $1 million townhouse, which I did say I was going to do a little video of, but I think I just went into, I just need some time off, need me time. And I had my sisters over for Easter Friday with, my eldest ended up being sick, so she didn't come, unfortunately. And then, good job she didn't, because her dog ate 70 small Easter eggs in their foil out of the packet, and so she had to make sure he was going to be all right. That dog, I tell you. Right. We're getting here. Sisters. I saw my mum came for sort of a late morning tea lunch yesterday with her partner. That was nice. It was good for her to have a reason and excuse to get out of the house after all our COVID lockdowns. I think she was missing seeing friends. So she was quite happy, and because her partner used to own a house in the area, right, so they're 80. He said he wanted to go to this park that he used to go to when he lived there, and so they went there before they got to where I was staying. And there's a flying fox. You know a flying fox? You know how those flying foxes are the big things you can hang on to and go for a bit of a ride on. He got on that and had a go, and I went, oh my goodness, he's 80. Good on you, Barry. Good on you, mate. Going and having a little fly on the flying fox. I love it how he does that. It's great. Well, why shouldn't he? Well, I think this is nice and colourful for Thailand. Where's my tag? This is going to be a little hidden thing there. Now, I think that this looks, I'm really loving these patterns, but I think I want some fly stitch. That's what I want. And am I going to secure that across there somehow or not? Because I might just, if I just glue it all down, that little pocket will still be open. So that'll be fine. Oh, I reckon we need some green. Oh, that's nice. Who else did I see? My friend Andrew, who he came over for brunch on, I've known him for over maybe 30 years. He came for brunch and Sunday, so it was Easter Sunday, and he has, in his later years, started to study theology, really. He's always been highly, highly spiritual, but just over the last, I don't know, 10 years, he's become more and more so, and he has been going into Greek and Russian Orthodox churches and studying all the ancient texts, like even pre-Bible texts, which is amazing. Some of the stuff he tells me. Quite amazing. This I found in my friend's stash, these really old, like rusty, I'm not going to use it. It feels a bit, and they're old rusty needles. I quite like them, but they get a bit stuck if it's not a thick material. So yes, he and I had a very interesting discussion about how women are portrayed and how they're expected to behave and etc. We just have to agree to disagree on some points. And that's okay. Alright, fly stitch. Now, do I want the little Y's to come? I do. That's what I want. Start up here so I can come all the way down. But still, interesting discussion nevertheless. In fact, even my mum decided to have the Christian discussion too. So I don't go to church, but I've got a lot of Christian people around me, which I don't mind. Each to their own. I've got my beliefs. Like I say, I'm really not very good with homophobic people or racist people, so my beliefs sort of follow on from there. But anyway, in lovely enlightening conversations, good friendships and stuff. It's good. Nice little getaway, except for the annoying cat. You know, when cats are kittens, they just don't know what they should or shouldn't do because they think that they're the entire centre of the universe. So they think they can get up on every bench. In fact, I'll put in a picture. I'm going to, right here, put a little picture of, and everyone will think it's so cute and it's playful what the cat's doing, and indeed it was funny at the time. When you can't prepare food, like, you know, when you want to prepare your food and there's a cat constantly swiping at everything and up on the table, it's too much. And the dog was so good. It was a little Maltese. He didn't, and he's deaf. So he just loved his little walk, his little tail wagging as we went round the walk in the morning and night. One day I got lost, so our walk, instead of 20 to 40 minutes, ended up being an hour, and boy did he sleep. He slept after that. But then they had a possum. There was a possum. So no one's been, I don't know if other places of the world are sort of the same as this, but in Australia, the possums, the big bushy tail possums, and we have ringtails as well, they are really loud if they're on your roof, and they make that guttural sound really loudly. Anyway, so one night the dog was just having a conniption about that, and these people let the pets, there's a little back door that they leave open so they can come in and out, and they, boy did Byron go berserk at the possum up till 3 a.m. So I had to bring him in. And lock him inside. And then he weed on the carpet, of course, as they do. Well, look what I did. Talking away, natter, natter, natter. But all in all, it was really nice to just get away and have just have another little place to stay, different things to see. I think, interestingly enough, when I'm here, because I work from home, I tend to, I don't cook as much, but it was really nice to, I'll put a picture of that in here too, because I made Lawrence a lamb shank stew, and I don't cook too much here, so that was really nice. Delicious. So that's I did actually want to comment a little bit about house sitting, because I wonder if I can go the other way, or do I just want to come from here? I don't know, or maybe I'll cast off and start again. House sitting, I have actually think I've spoken about house sitting before, where you just get, it's like a holiday. They just book you through this company where you don't have to, they don't pay you, they just get someone who either is a traveller who, wants to have somewhere to live for a bit for free, and all you have to do is mind their place and mind their pets. So there's a few places like Aussie House Sitters, Mind a Home, and you just pay a fee for the year. But what I like about it, and I also work at times for an app which people pay you to go and feed their dogs or cats while they're away. That's shut at the moment, but I'm about to open it up again. What I am trying to say, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that the enjoyable thing is that you get to experience other people's places. So there's all sorts of delightful pictures, is that the right word? Maybe vistas might be the right word, where other people design their houses different ways and have different, art on their wall and different plants, and I just love that. It's really fun. Now, I don't want to go through the pocket. So I find it creative. I've probably said that before. It's like a little creative venture that changes your, it's like having a holiday, change your scenery. A little bit of time away from your own place and your own responsibilities for a minute. There we go. So you come back as refreshed as if you'd been on a holiday, with new ideas and ready to start again, ready to be fresh again. Ah, there we go. I managed to nearly sew an entire tag while I natted on. That's the first. Right, let's just go right to the bottom of that pocket. And was I off camera then? I felt like I wandered off. Alright, here we go. Let's cast this off. Oh, that's pretty. Well, I'll just be gluing this on. That can slide in there. Right, I think that's about it because I've run out of things to say. There. Ah, that's good. Okay, I will glue that off camera. And sorry it's a bit late today, but there you go. Tag Tuesday, number 14, week 14, and a treasure and a pocket inspired by a place or a location. That's it. All right. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.